I'm going to share my method of making super simple, super delicious scrambled eggs. Now this is the video that I wish that I had seen when I was younger and just starting to learn how to cook, because it makes it so simple and the results are so good. And if you can boil toast, you can do this. But we do have to pay attention to some of the details in order to get it right to have a great result. And so with that, let's talk about how to make really good eggs. I know a lot of people overcomplicate this process, and probably the most common video that you'll find on YouTube for making scrambled eggs is by Gordon Ramsay. And no offense to Mr. Ramsay, I think he's probably a fantastic chef. But I see the way that he makes scrambled eggs and I think, oh, that's just way too complicated, and I doubt that your results are as good as mine. So, what you're going to need, real simple. You need a stove because we're going to have to heat things up. You need a pan, and this is a cast iron pan. Get a cast iron pan, it's the best. And I don't do a lot of rituals about my cast iron pan of seasoning and all this jazz. No, I just use the pan. And I use this pan enough that the bottom has become super slick and smooth from all of my scraping on it. And the food that I've cooked in it over the years has just filled in all these little micro pores. And so does food stick to my cast iron pan? Well, a little bit, not too much. It's fine. I would not recommend cooking on Teflon or aluminum. I don't think that those are healthy materials, just my opinion. I might tolerate stainless steel. I don't mind glass, but glass doesn't conduct heat anywhere near as well as cast iron. The cast iron pan conducts heat well, and it's a nice even heat. Get a cast iron pan. We are going to need eggs, and the eggs that you choose make a big difference. There's a big difference in flavor and nutritional quality of eggs that are the cheap eggs at the cheap grocery store versus the really good eggs. So get the really good eggs. These are really good eggs because they come from our backyard chickens, and I know what they're fed. They're fed high quality food, no commercial food, no soy. They're great eggs, and great eggs will make a difference. I've got a little bit of cheese. I'm trying to keep it keto, but I like a little bit of cheese as a garnish. It bumps up the flavor profile a little bit. Adjust to your taste. I've got a jalapeno pepper, which I think will add a little bit of zing to the eggs, and that'll be good. This came out of our garden, so I know that that's high quality. Gonna need a little bit of butter. Need some salt. Today I'm going to use seasonella, which is just a flavored salt. I think that might give a good flavor profile, but if you prefer, you can use just regular salt. I'm a fan of using kosher salt, which is nice and pure. And you're going to need something to stir up your eggs with, so I have a paint scraper from the dollar store. I don't use it for scraping paint. It stays in the kitchen. It's a kitchen appliance now. Use whatever spatula you like. I know that some people say don't use metal on your cast iron pan. That's what they say. So, let's get started, shall we? The first step is to crack our eggs open and mix them all up. Now, you could put these into a bowl and whip them up with a fork.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But I prefer to use a blender. It's just easier. And so I'm going to take my eggs with my scraper tool and just drop them in there. going to turn on the stove and get it warming up a little bit. And now that I have the eggs into the blender, we're going to add some salt. Not a whole lot, just a few shakes of salt. And oops, then we will give it a quick spin. So, and we're going to let that sit for just a minute. The salt breaks down the proteins of the eggs, and that is one of the things that will give you nice fluffy eggs. Ideally, we should wait about 10 minutes to let the salt take its action. But really, just a minute or two is enough. So I'm just going to let that chill for a moment, and we will take our jalapeno and chop it up. I might as well chop it up with the same scraper that I'm going to use. I'm going to discard these ends, and we'll just chop it into some pieces. Nothing super critical. Back here. So I'm going to chop them up some more in this. Now we're going to blend these up nice and good. So, and then we're going to add butter. Don't be too skimpy with the butter, but you also don't have to go hog wild. I'm going to grab a couple spoonfuls of butter here and just throw it in. Now you'll notice that I have not buttered the pan. But there's no need to butter the pan when I put butter in the eggs. And by putting the butter into the eggs, it all becomes nice and homogeneous. And they will be smooth and creamy and fluffy and wonderful. Okay, remove that. Okay, so I've got the pan on the stove and it's sitting at medium heat, about halfway up on my stove. I could cook them slower, and slower is better, but I don't have time for that. If you can also cook them faster, you can turn up the heat to about 3/4 if you wanted to, but you have to be really on top of it if you do that and keep things moving non-stop. You know, in any case, you do need to keep things moving pretty much non-stop because you do not want to overly burn the eggs on the pan. So, at this point, all we need to do is to pour the eggs into the pan and start stirring them, and we stir them continuously until they're done. Throw them on. Rinse your kitchen tools so the dishes are easier later. And now I'm going to just keep stirring these things until they reach the consistency that I want. And you see that we're already cooking egg. Out of the bottom of the pan I'm scraping up cooked egg, and that's good. We just need to keep stirring this non-stop and make sure we get all of it until we boil off and solidify all of the liquid. And like I mentioned, if you cook these slower, the result is a little better. If you cook them fast, you get to eat sooner. And there is a little bit of egg that is sticking to the bottom of the pan, and that's just fine. Leave it there. But as you can see, they're starting to firm up a little bit. And now we have to start paying close attention and get the timing right. Because we want to get them cooked to the degree that we want, but not too much. Now you can have your choice as to how runny you like your eggs. I don't like to have any liquid remaining in my eggs. I like them to be fully cooked, but I don't want to go too far because then they'll get kind of firm and rubbery, and that's no good. I like them to be soft and creamy. And so that's about where we're getting real close right now. That's good. I'm going to add just a dash of salt and a little bit of pepper to this mix. Not much, but this just gets that mixed all the way through the eggs. And they are just about done, as you can see. Just a little tiny bit more. Looking good. When I get to this point, I just start flipping them over because I want to make sure that there's no liquidy parts in the middle, but I think they are looking pretty good. We can turn the heat down. Grab ourselves a plate. I'm going to add just a little bit of cheese into the eggs to get it through the mix. Flip that around. The cheese is optional. You can do that or not. You can of course put in whatever other flavors you like in your eggs. Plate these guys up. Now you'll notice that I have a thin layer of egg on the bottom of the pan, which I didn't try to pry off of there. I just let that sit because I don't want to eat that stuff. So what I will do is, while the pan is still hot, throw a little bit of water on it. And that boiling action will help loosen up this stuff. And let's give it a quick scrape to make sure that nothing sticks too much. The stuff on the side of the pan isn't too tenacious. That'll come up real easily with a little scrubbing in the sink. And so I'll take this watery mixture, and that'll go to our puppy, and he loves that. We got that. Take care of that in a minute. And then we have our eggs that we have produced. I will put the cheese on the eggs. Dash of salt and pepper. And we have delicious scrambled eggs. Super simple, super fast, and these scrambled eggs are probably better than almost any of the other ones that I've tried. Don't have to make it complicated to make it good. And there you have it, folks. Really fast, really simple, delicious scrambled eggs. The keys to this are using really high quality eggs, cooking on cast iron, and making sure to put some salt into your eggs and letting it sit for a couple of minutes when you scramble them up, so that you break down the proteins so that you have really smooth, creamy, fluffy scrambled eggs. And of course, the quality of your eggs makes a big difference. If you have the option of getting your eggs from a local farmer or a farmer's market, highly recommend it. If that isn't a choice for you, reach for those better quality eggs at the grocery store, the ones that say they're organic. They really do taste better. So, I'm going to end this video at this point. Have me some breakfast, and I encourage you to try doing the same one of these days. I think you'll be impressed by how well it works. Good eating to you. Catch you soon.